back to Raised by Fire. This is Jen, or my name is Jen, and these are my sisters and my lovely mom. I'm excited to introduce this topic of what we're talking about today. It's fighting like sisters, but loving like best friends. And I think this will be interesting for Mom to get a peek in how us girls fight and argue and make it through hard things. So I'm excited for these topics.
So what was the story you were trying to share before the camera
Before we
went
started, we were trying to fix each other's hair. Well, I went in to get my photo taken for my passport, and I had natural curly hair. And right before I took the photo, I pluffed my hair like this. And when I did that, a little string of my hair came out like this. And Matt, of course, didn't say anything.
Matt is her sweetheart.
And they took the picture, and of course, that long story short, my passport came, and I was like, what the heck? Why didn't you tell me? My hair looks awful. He's like, nobody really looks like that. It's totally fine. Doesn't matter. I'm like, okay, fine. Nobody sees your passport. Well, this past trip, when we were going to New York,
I already know the story.
Flying to New York, you need a real ID. And I, of course, don't have that, so it was my passport. And I go up to the gentleman, I give him my passport, he looks at it, and he looks at my thing, and he looks up at me, and he's like, you're having a bad hair day, weren't you? And I look at him, and I'm like mortified, and then I look over at Matt, I'm like, I told you!
You said no one would see
this. And then, so for him to comment whoa, you're having a bad hair day, I'm like, what?
You're not supposed to say that.
You're so mean.
They're all ugly, right? Everybody just looks bad.
And it was a dude, not even a lady.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Don't be looking at my photo so closely.
So anyways, that was my funny
Now
story.
I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah, me too. Hair sticking out like this.
Wouldn't they let you see it before? That's weird.
They did, but I think we were in a rush or whatever. But anyways, I would love for whoever has a story of an argument or some story when we were younger or older. Does anybody have anything?
I was just going to say, I don't think we really fought much.
I disagree.
We fought a lot.
We definitely
We all fought with
Lucy was
Bethany.
always right.
I disagree. We were just talking about how you two love to say hey by going, hey.
But that's a love tap, okay?
Oh, is it?
That led to a bruise.
Speaking of a love tap, I had a bruise on my arm, remember? And every time I went to church, Tim's like, I swear I didn't hit her. It was her sister, remember?
My bad. This is why I took up boxing when I was a teen.
Hey, but I
Whatever, how many? You gave us bruises too. She's still accusing me. She gave more bruises than I did.
Yeah.
Okay, but I was an adult. I was an adult with 3 kids.
So I was a kid. You're way older than me.
Gotta defend
That sounds like a you problem. I was a child still.
Lucy, don't you remember you would say or I don't know if this is true, but oh, okay, I'll let you hit me as hard as you can if I can.
Yeah,
do the same.
that is very
tell
true.
us about that.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think it was violent. I just
Let me punch you as hard as I can. That's not
I
violent.
was
I
trying
wanna
to
know.
prove myself and compete with the boys, I guess.
She just has the aggression, you know?
I do. I definitely
Did it
feel
feel
like
good?
She has
But
the
I
I want to be
get it out.
stronger than a man, or I want to be as strong as my brothers because, you're
You're
3
too older.
brothers. So you're like, can I please hit you as hard
I
as
don't
I
know
can?
why I went through
Okay. And then be like, okay, now let Mo hit you. I'm like, okay.
Oh
Mo
my
would hit
God.
harder. I'm like, definitely Mo.
my brothers were so sweet. They let me think that I hurt them.
No, you did hurt them. You did. Everyone had bruises.
But they were so sweet.
I'll say, being the youngest of all of you guys, I felt, or something, it's not physical, no physical fighting that I'm talking about, but just funny details. I remember always, obviously it's my role to play, to always want everything you guys have.
Your role to
And
play?
I remember, I would, specifically with you, she would be like, oh, when I'm done with it, you can have it. She would let this thing rot before she gave it to me.
I'm so sorry. You should have just stolen it.
She's like, this thing is nearly gone. Can I have it yet? And you're like, no, I'm not
Why
done
didn't you
with
just
it.
steal it? That's what I did to Jen. I didn't ask.
did.
I just took.
I did. That's part of it too.
Got ready
obviously
for
we
school. Let me
steal.
go to Jen's closet. Yep, wearing this today. Wearing this today.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's a really.
Oh, you're
that's a
talking
good
about that
plus.
slouchy sweater? I should have gave that to
Yeah,
you.
no,
I
it's
rode that thing out way too long.
It was always Hollister, pink, something, whatever
That's
it was.
hilarious.
And then by time, I think I would just find it in the giveaway pile, and we're all like, yeah, it's over with. It's gone. it's done.
It's okay because roles reversed. We started stealing from YouTube. It was
Oh
just
yeah.
It all
Once you get to,
came
like,
full circle. We even took mom's clothes.
This is
Yeah.
This is what's really nice about now is that a lot of us,
Are the
I would
same
say
size.
us four, 1, 2, 3, 4, are the same shoe size.
Not
Yeah.
me. I'm not in that.
I know you're not, but when I was young, watching your kids, I was the same shoe size as you when I would babysit your
I know.
kids.
I remember.
Yeah,
When you're 13.
yeah, when I was 13.
So what other fights did you guys have, or what did you guys do when Mom wasn't home? Like, what were some of the?
I think
I
we
feel like I
def-
always
yeah.
called you like they're fighting. I'm scared.
We definitely didn't follow the rules. Like, mom would always tell us, like, we couldn't hit each other and we couldn't, like, say bad things to each other, and we did it anyways.
Yeah, we really did.
How come
like
I
the
never
name-
heard about it?
I know. I was thinking.
No,
You don't
Bethany did.
remember?
When me and Josh
I feel
would
like
fight,
I would call you
she
all
would
the
call
time.
you.
Like I'd be crying and being
Yeah.
like, they won't stop fighting.
yeah, it was bad.
And then you guys would get mad. They're like, why'd you call Mom? And I'm like, because you guys are scaring me.
Oh,
Bethany.
No, I was like, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I didn't know. I was just like, yeah. Anyway.
Oh,
I only fought with my brothers. I feel like with you guys, it was more.
It was more you
running
hitting
the
us.
house, running the house, or we would wrestle.
Yeah.
Like I know
Play
that
wrestle.
was play wrestle. Otherwise,
You didn't ever get, like, in a verbal fight with anyone? Or were you out of the house by the time we were, like, teens?
I don't feel like I ever was like fighting. I never had the like mad at.
No,
one
I do
of
whatever Lucy tell me to do.
Yeah.
And if she
Yeah.
was beating me up, I'd do it happily.
Oh no!
Mom, do you have any stories of any of us girls coming to you and confiding in you of another girl?
Other
sisters.
yeah. Some of the stuff that was
trying to say
confided
back,
to me,
but
obviously.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that was confided to me was in confidence, so I wouldn't be sharing it. But obviously,
But what was, like,
obviously
your-
my daughters have
yeah.
told me and things that they've struggled with each other, whatever. But I feel like if I think about the big picture, and my silly mind, I'm thinking, where was I? Was I in La La Land? I didn't really know you guys fought that much. To
I
be
don't think we
honest,
did.
I really.
I think we did.
I really didn't know that there was. Every time I came home, everybody seemed like they got along so well, and I feel like you guys shared one bedroom for all the girls, right? So you had one bedroom, 5 daughters. Can you imagine that? And just sharing that space, and respecting your space in the closet, respecting your stuff, taking care of it, and all that kind of stuff. I imagine that it was a lot of work. And a question I have for you girls is, how do you feel like, being the sisters that you are, growing up in the household that you grew up, how did learning and to solve these conflict and these certain things, how do you think that has benefited you in your lives today? Like maybe learning to share. What was that?
I don't think we resolved it in a healthy way.
Yeah, because I definitely fought with, like, Jen and Bethany and Josh.
Yeah.
Maybe not you and Melanie, but I remember we would
I feel like
verbal
we
fights,
were
physical
clashing for a
fights.
while when we were older.
Well, I just felt like you were, like, always, like, screaming at us and telling, like, you were trying to...
Well, she was scared. You
No,
guys
she-
were getting drunk.
No, we weren't. This is way before that.
Oh wait, but they did do it.
This is way before that. It's more so like she was like the mommy in charge running the household, and we weren't listening to her. We were like, "You're not mom, bye," And so I think that's why she was screaming at us all the time. It's like, yeah, because we were not.
Was that
following.
when I
Jumping out the
You
window
weren't
on the
there. Yeah, I'm
trampoline.
saying.
Oh, jeez.
Because I feel like, as far as like sisters fighting, I just feel like we had this overall
No, we definitely
mutual
fought.
respect of
I
like
feel
the
like-
family survival. But I don't know. That's my
I feel
perspective.
like that.
I feel like you got married kind of young, so like when I was fighting age, you were like not in the house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
When
what I'm
we're-
saying. When you guys were
Yeah.
younger, when you guys became teenagers, that I think the initial move here and figure out how it is
Oh,
to
right.
live in the United States
All of that was
has
gone,
gone,
yeah.
and now you have this like
Now we're just-
family dynamic
yeah.
that's a little more freeing where you could fight. Because I feel like we
like it
didn't
was
have
too
that
serious.
as
Like
much.
you guys had bigger
We
things
were, like-
to deal with. Yeah.
Well, I
Try
think-
to not get F's in school and be normal.
Well, and I think mom was gone a lot of the times. Like, I think maybe before you left, you probably were home all the time. Mom was working, so it's like, there's no parent here, let's just go crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe not exactly like that, but I do think, like, when mom's not around, that's when all the fights would happen. When she's home, we already know not to pull anything.
Yeah.
But even
She
then, like,
always give you a 30-minute heads up. I'm on my way home.
And we
You
run
can make
around.
That house better
that was
be
for
clean.
cleaning. That wasn't for, like, well, that was for everything, I guess.
Yeah, better be on your best behavior.
I can't wait till my kids pick up on that better because I'd be like, I'm on my way home, they don't care. Mom's home, everything looks the same.
No.
Yeah.
Fighting with the
How
brothers
did you
is a whole
guys
nother
learn
story.
to communicate though? Because we've talked about this in another episode, like how you guys have learned to embrace your guys' differences and and how you respect that each one of you are very different, whatever those
That's like
different-
adulthood.
Yeah, I think that took some
Adulthood.
time.
Yeah.
That's
We
what
all
you
had
would
to be an
think. That's what
adult.
you would think. I am quite old, and I am shocked by how many I'll just say women out there are not adulting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, all this little
Yeah.
bickering and fighting. You think that, don't you outgrow that? At least when you're
Yeah.
50. I've seen a lot of that out in the
makes
world,
sense.
and I'm not saying everybody's like that. It could be in my own family. I'm not saying just in the world, but I feel like we take it lightly and say, oh, we just grew up. But no, there had to be some communication, some decisions. How did you guys, because it obviously didn't come from me. It came from you girls.
I think it's valuing relationship. Because if you didn't value it, then you wouldn't work towards it, you know?
I think we grew into like accepting ourselves too.
Part of maturing, though. I feel like, I think as we got, it wasn't like, or just think about like any work you're doing personally on yourself, that's going to reflect in all your relationships. So as you're maturing, as you're adulting, as you're, turning into a young woman, an adult, moving on through life, it's like you really like value what relationships you have. Like, I just feel like it's childish to be fighting. It would be crazy had we like been hitting each other or pulling hair or name calling. Like, we're adults now. But maybe that's not how everyone...
I feel like I've been told a lot, like, oh, like, I'm sure you guys have too, like, I can't stand my sister.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Like, we're told that all the time. I really think it's like, maybe we're lucky or blessed, but
Yeah.
I think it's also not wanting that to be true.
Yeah.
You know, and like, not.
Yeah, we never went through like, a lot of sisters think like a boyfriend or a man or a friend come around and get in between you and a sister.
Yeah.
Like we all like
No.
such different kinds of men that it wasn't like, oh, we fought the hardest is when we liked the same guy or went through something like that. Like
Yeah.
they're like our friend, like our sisters were number one, and then we had
Exactly.
friends.
Yeah.
And when we had our friends, that we brought them into our sister clique, and it was like
Yeah.
if you were gonna be friends with one, you have to get to know
Yeah.
all of them.
That's
But
so true.
Our sisters
There's
was number
loyalty.
one. Having friends was always like, no, that's not number one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's have friends hang out. But if you were a friend, you had to be part of the family and have to love all my sisters.
Or you're invited. I'm bringing my sisters. That was always
Yeah,
me. Like,
that was the thing. Like,
they're
I don't
they're
even wanna
coming
go.
with me.
I don't even want to go unless you invite us all.
Exactly.
Or we're all gonna show up. But yeah.
I think it took us time to build that though, because I will say personally for myself, you make stupid mistakes, but I think it took me time to like love yourself, and then the loyalty, like regardless of the things you're going through, it's like that's your family, and you have this like deep rooted loyalty, I think, for family.
Yeah.
That I think sometimes we don't realize that the rest of the world, like you're saying, everyone has such a different story out there.
Back when I was getting together with my sisters, you guys know I get together every year around Grandma's birthday, and there's 6 of us. And Aunt Vicky brings T-shirts every year, and one year she brought a T-shirt that said, "Sisters is better than therapy." That was the name. That was what the shirt was. And she says, "You'd be surprised how many people out there say sisters better than therapy. No, sisters is why I need therapy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't think we
it's
have
it's
that.
like.
No.
I don't know if it's just the fact that, environment or circumstances or what it is, and not to say one is better than the other, but I do think that it takes a conscious decision to honor your family and each other and, be there for each other, come rain or shine, when, there's lots of times you can't pick up a phone call and you might forget birthdays or different things, but when someone needs you, there's nothing like having that closeness of a sister
Yeah.
and her support. And I honestly, one of the things I love the most about being your girls' mom is seeing that closeness that you girls have. Like, to be honest, I even wish I had it. And I'm not saying what I have is good, bad, or ugly. It's not. I'm just saying, however the circumstances was for me, watching you girls be able to experience life so close and the way you girls are, it's actually a true blessing. It's rare.
I think you instilled that in us, because I could recall different times, arguing with one of the girls or something, and you saying that's your sister, like you love them, they're your family, and reminding me about that. Not necessarily just the sisters, but more of like that family, like it's your family, like reminding me that. And so to the idea of like communication, that came so much further on. I think what I really, really learned, it's like the action that you take. And I didn't like, if I was arguing with a sister, it wasn't like I went and apologized and communicated, oh, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. It was more of my action of like she's my sister, I love her. It's like that I was so instilled in me. And the communication piece coming, I mean, later on, like still now, learning how to actually communicate in a way that's healthy, especially when it's an argument, of like learning how to say I'm sorry, learning how to talk through things. Because we are family, I'll say this from my experience, we didn't talk through things. At least me.
Yeah.
I felt like it's just like, nope, it's your family and it's your action. No, we're a family. We do this together. No, it's like, it felt like you constantly bring us back to that. And so it took me a while. I think even now I'm still learning the communication piece of like, when you are in an argument, how can you talk about that? Because I will say from my experience, I didn't have a bunch of that.
I remember Pamela on one of our episodes, and maybe you want to talk a little more about it, and you girls were around. Remember what you would were telling about that story that I would tell you, or maybe it was you, Lucy. Or maybe it was you. I can't remember who was sitting over there. Maybe I dreamt it. But anyways, that story about the pack of pencils and how
that
Mom
was
would.
me. Yeah, you're right.
It was you.
Yeah.
I would sit there and
remember
share that
that.
story. Go ahead and share that, and I'm sure you all.
Yeah,
were
I
there.
would
What
feel
was the
like
message?
usually this story would come out when like, I feel like it was something serious happened with the brothers. I always felt like it was more serious than just the little kids. Then we'd have like a family meeting, and then of course Mom's telling us like, we don't have like the option, like we only have each other. And then she did do that like metaphor, like if you have one pencil, how easy is it to snap it? But you take all 9 of you plus me, that's 10, and try and break that, and it's like almost impossible. So I think that was always instilled in us, like, I don't care, they're family, point blank, period. That's all you have. Like, these are your sisters, these are your brothers. I'm like, that's, at the end of the day, friends are going to come and go, money's going to come and go, all this stuff. And so I think from a young age, that really was instilled in us. And then another thing I think about adulthood, like thinking of all my conversations with you guys and how we're all so different, but it's like we truly can be our true authentic self.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people, if they're not close with their sisters, maybe they put the walls up or they pretend they should be this, should do that, should all over themselves or X, Y, and Z. And it's like, I feel like we each truly can be our true authentic self, and there's no judgment, and everyone like encourages you to be your own unique person. And like your uniqueness is what makes you special and powerful. And I feel like we really cultivate that in this space.
Yeah.
And I think as we're adults, it's like we're so different, yes, but we're sisters, and we love that we're different.
Yeah. I think maybe even in the beginning, like we were talking about, you, Lucy, were saying that you were, like, when we first moved here, feeling that, like, culture shock or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that also is, like, to feel like we all can understand each other more than really anybody else because we went through these things together.
Trauma bonded.
Yeah,
So
kind of
true.
trauma bonded, you
Yeah.
know? And, like, how comforting it is to have that.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true.
It's something I'm teaching my little girls because, you know, they're 5 and 3, and Raquel is always like, oh, I don't want to hang out with Nora. She makes me so mad. And I'm like, how long is Nora going to be your sister? And she sits there and she's like, forever. I'm like, yes, forever. She's going to be your sister forever. She's like, okay. I'm like, you don't even treat her nicely because she's going to be your sister forever. So she's like, okay.
Do you guys feel like any of the, like, what you learned being in a sisterhood here has it carried out to your friendships now outside of course,
Or your relationships, even.
or your relationships? But I'm thinking like the sisterhood in like having girlfriends. Does anybody feel that at all?
Yes, but I don't know. Like, yes, but.
I'll say one of the common things I hear in different conversations with each one of you girls is at the end of whatever, whether it's a relationship, new or old, or now you guys are couples together and you guys go to birthday parties or whatever you're doing out in the world, there's been a common thread in conversation through my daughters that it's just not quite the same as my sister. Like they're going off, they're having great and whatever, travel together. But at the end of the day, there's always just that little thing that you feel that is just kind of missing. And it's almost like, you know, I don't know if it's possible, but I think maybe I ask you girls, do you think it's possible to have the same kind of sisterhood you have with your sister out in the world?
No,
They've been there
because we
since
went
the
through
beginning.
all of it
I was
together.
gonna say I don't know if that's unique to us. That's something I don't know, but I don't feel like.
I think if we didn't have each other, though, I think we would be forced, because you need a community.
Yeah.
So I think we don't feel like I mean, obviously we all have friends outside of this and close friends, but I think, like, if we didn't have each other. You need a womanhood, you need a community. So I think we would be forced to find it. And like, obviously we're blessed that we have so many of us that we can like, you know, lean into. But I do think it's possible like, to have a sisterhood. If you're an only child, or like, if I never have a girl and Mila's the only girl, I think she's gonna have to find her community.
I think it is possible, but I don't think it's never gonna feel like this. You can have a community, but I don't think you're gonna feel connected like a sister, because for us, like no matter what, even if we don't see each other, say for the rest of our lives, like today, you still like that unique connection with your family is something that like you went through so much life together. There's no one else ever that would understand you and be by your side that could ever understand that. So if you did have a community outside of that, I know that takes work and it takes investment and it's a part of a way to do it, but it's still missing that you don't have the past.
And your friends are probably more like you because you're finding friends that you have things in common with, things you enjoy because they're a friend, versus your sister. I don't care who you are, what you do, we're blood related, we're connected, we're family regardless. I'm gonna love you regardless. So I think that's definitely true.
There's a lot of people too that say like you can choose your family, or like you didn't choose your family but you can choose your friends, and I don't know. There's a lot of different.
I think there's a lot of beauty coming from being raised and going through the same thing together. Like no one's gonna. What we went through, there's no one in the world that's been through that. So when you meet a friend, you're like, oh, you don't know my child, like almost like your childhood is sacred, and it formed who you are today. Yeah. And being that your sisters went through it with you, and they know, and they have the feelings of all of that. So it's like that's something that can't be replaced. But
especially coming from a cult, it's like anyone we meet here, they don't have the trauma background that we do.
And I feel like maybe you guys would feel the same way, but when you first meet someone and they first hear about your background and they're so like in awe and that's all they want to talk about, you don't feel like that connection. I will say that I've actually had I've had a friend who also not exactly the same way, but like a friend who also has had really like a traumatic background, and I remember how instantly we kind of bonded on that. We were like, oh, like you don't have to think I'm weird, I don't have to think you're weird, like we both have this crazy experience, and we were able to kind of bond on that, and like that was really special because you don't really get that. Most people kind of look at you and think like
judge
like
you,
they ask you those questions and they're just like wow, and you're just like, okay, how many questions do I have to answer on this thing that doesn't really tell you about who I am today, you know? That's something that I've experienced anyways. So I feel like you can find, I think you can find those bonds outside of.
Absolutely.
That's what I was going to say is I think the way it kind of works is that you have friendships in different situations. Say you're going through birthing and having children, you have a mom's group and you relate in that, or else you're in a Bible study doing something at church for your community, then you have a group of friends in that, or you as couples. I think you can have these friendships in different densities in each one of these friendships, but when you have sisters, it seems like they cover it all. And not to say people that don't have sisters don't have great friends, they do. And they create, like you were just giving the example, something maybe say there's a woman that was really into sports all her childhood, and now she's met someone that went through the same thing, and they have that thing that bonds them together. But I think because there's 5 of you, and though there's a big age gap between the youngest and the oldest, so Bethany's experiences of her mom and family life was a lot different than Lucy's, but at the end of the day, there's something that brings you all together because you have, maybe it's even the fact that you're all loved by the same heartbeat, that your first home was all the same place, that you have the DNA of this woman here, and that's in every one of you. I am sure long after I'm gone, you girls will come together and you will remind each other of mom. Different things, a smile, someone will come and touch you, oh, you remind me of mom, or they'll carry these legacies and stuff. So I feel like there's a sense of nurturing that you get, like it's kind of like a motherly, in a way, like even though you're sisters, that it's hard to recreate out in your relationship. So I think when you come together and talk about what we're talking about here, I think it boils all the way back down to just that thing with family, whether it's sisters or brothers, but it's the family. And I think we need to shine more light on the topic of family. I think that by design or somehow another out in the world, there's a lot of things that just tear apart the family government, whether it's entertainment screens, you know, all kinds of different things that goes on that pulls away from that. And sometimes I wonder if that's not part of the secret sauce, is because we didn't have TV, and we were raised, you know, your humble beginnings was in Mexico, and we came here with nothing. We had to rely on each other, and it forced us to be strong as a family. And therefore, I think that, and my hope in sharing Raised by Fire is to kind of give a little sneak peek into how it works for us, and encourage, and I guarantee in every family, if you just take a moment and shine the light on the dynamics of your family, instead of sisters being the reason you need therapy, maybe come back at, I think, you know, my sister, I'll just say for me with my own sisters, being that we all come from trauma, my sisters sometimes shine the light on my own trauma. And I don't like that. So when I'm with them, I'm starting to feel some of the feelings of my past because they've gone through it too. But then it forces me to shine the light on that and heal. And though it's uncomfortable. So sometimes when you're in a situation that's uncomfortable with family members, obviously each one's different. And I'm not going to say one shoe fits all, because there's lots of relationships that shouldn't because of certain abuse or whatever. But I'm just thinking that that is the beautiful thing. And I think the reason you girls are very, very close, and even close with mommy, is because we shine the light on some stuff that forced us to be close.
I
Like,
feel like you always said that thing of like, you're a jar of water with sand at the bottom, and that someone will come in and be the stick, and they'll stir up whatever you already have in you, and that can make you feel uncomfortable. But that it's just stirring up what's inside of you. It doesn't, you know, they're not actually putting, you know.
right. And
Or I don't know exactly how you said it,
so
but-
then you get mad at the wood spoon that's stirring in you, instead of saying, hey, the grass and the shells, and now there's a little fish in there, whatever's in your jar, you've filled your jar through your life. And sometimes with having a big bunch of sisters, they're in there and they're stirring. And most people will just say, I can't handle it. She's always borrowing my clothes. And she stretches them out, or she gets
it's like-
bleach on, or whatever
yeah,
it
it's
is.
stirring
So
up.
it's the spoon and they're stirring. And so then you think, what is it? Maybe you're trying to find individuality, or you have a big family, you have to share everything. You're trying to find your own little piece of something that's respected, and or whatever it is that you're trying to learn your place. And these little struggles, and that was the point of the topic of the conversation, is what are these struggles that build you and helped you be strong, and then move, you know, out into the world and building relationships everywhere.
I'll say that is one thing I have noticed with my relationships outside of us sisters, that has really helped me learn how to like take responsibility, is exactly what you're saying. It's that when all of a sudden I'll get like a little bit of jealousy, or a little bit of like, she's a B, I didn't like how she talked to me. And then all of a sudden I'll look at that and be like, okay, what's wrong with me? And obviously there's a trigger there. And it really has helped me, like with just take more responsibility of my reactions on how I build relationships out there. And I think that started here. Well, I don't know if I'll say it started here, but it definitely is a big piece of, I feel like, how I can come into this relationship feeling free, and like just this feels like home, because we're not projecting like you did this, whatever. It's more like, oh, that stirred something in me. There's something that I'm not dealing with, instead of blaming you, like, oh, you
It's like
didn't
a trigger warning. type
yeah,
thing.
it's not
absolutely.
like it's. And I know we've had many hot topics in different beliefs in our family, and that's been something that has helped me. I mean, obviously we're not perfect, but it's been something that's helped me where I disagreed with something, and then it's like, it doesn't matter if we disagree. I have to come to peace on who I am and what do I really believe in for me. It doesn't matter, you know, on you guys. So I'll say that's how that
Yeah,
affects
I've
me.
had moments where like I'll feel uncomfortable and think like, well, I guess I'll never go do that again. and
Yeah.
Be around those people again or whatever.
it stirs
And then
something
you're
up in you.
like, well,
Right.
what is
Yeah.
that? Is that what I actually want? You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what do you actually want, and what is happening? What, like you're saying, like
and
what
then
is
all
it
of a sudden
stirring
you
up?
show up freer, and you're like, you know what? You don't have to make me feel comfortable, but when you take care of it, all of a sudden the whole situation doesn't even matter. You know? It's
Well,
so
it puts
weird.
power
Yeah.
back. It puts the power back
Yeah.
in your life. Instead of being a victim, you become
Yeah.
a triumph over
Yeah.
the situation, because you come in. There's someone here in Prior Lake that's bothered me for years,
Yeah,
and instead of me blocking the person and saying whatever all things I can say, and I talk to different ones of my daughters, and I'll say every time, no, I'm not going to block her, because what is this saying about me? What is this triggering in me that this bothers me? Like, and I can have all these justifications, but at the end of the day, and I'm an old girl, I am learning, and I kind of like it. So I won't block her or get rid of her, because I'm thinking, no, I want to know what this is. She's
Yeah.
not hurting me in the least. What
Right.
is this triggering in me? How can I show up better? And there's nothing better than when you can show up and know that you, whatever goes on, whatever is happening, the way you feel about and what you see is about what your experience. And it makes you free, where you're not a victim. And you're not like, oh, I need therapy because these sisters, you know. It's more like, you know, what is the therapy? They stirred in me. Now I got to go home and think, what are the ingredients in my food? My goodness, she said all this, you know, whatever. Wow, yeah, I'm only walking 2,000 steps a day. Oh, you know, whatever it is, I want to do better because I want to have a better experience. So these things inspire, and I think that we can do this collective, or the world can do this, if we just put ourselves out there. Like, it's not about you changing anything, or you're good or bad. It's just like saying, what does this make you feel? Oh, I don't like standing by you, Pamela, because you're so tall. Think, well, do you feel better now? It's like, no.
Jump.
No, yeah, maybe I should just jump. So instead, I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry you feel short. You know, what's wrong with being fun size? I'm just tall and you're fun size. Well, I've never thought of it like that. I go, yeah, like embrace these differences. It doesn't mean one is better than the other. And I just love that. I think that's one of the messages in Raised by Fire, is embracing our differences and standing tall in them. Whatever it is, you know, this is who I am. This is what I like. I don't wear this. I don't dress like this. I don't like to be associated with different things. And it's nothing bad with them. It just doesn't serve me anymore. Or it didn't serve me at all. And I don't want to feel this way. I had the conversation the other day with you with someone. It's like, nothing wrong with that person. I see the purpose and how important they are, but I don't like how it makes me feel, and I can't associate my conversations around that way of thinking, so I'm just going to do the right thing and let that person be and search elsewhere, or whatever it is I'm doing. And there's nothing wrong. And I think you girls do a great job with that. I think you guys do that with each other.
Yeah.
I wanted to say one thing before. Have you guys heard of the Sisterhood wound? Have anybody ever heard of that? You know how you have like the father wound, like if you didn't have a father in the home, people would just like point to me like, oh, you have that
Daddy issues.
Daddy issues essentially. Or you have mommy issues or what have you. Well, there's something called the sisterhood wound, and essentially the theory behind this is that women naturally can be very competitive, you know, especially sisters. We weren't raised this way, but I could imagine why people out in the world say, I don't like my sister, I'm not friends with her, because women are naturally very compare themselves to each other. That the sisterhood wound is where you literally are just comparing yourself to her or that woman or what have you. And so what I think is fascinating about us is that I wouldn't say any of us have that sisterhood wound, though I see it a lot, where women can be very conniving and very like, just, you know, show up in a way and think that they're your friend, but really they're like in competition and trying to be better than you, or talk behind your back, and just like shit like that girls do or women do. And so it's considered the sisterhood wound. And one thing that anytime that comes up for me, and I always think like, I'm so blessed to have been raised by, first of all, my mom, and then to have these sisters that, because our differences were celebrated, or maybe because we trauma bonded, it never felt like we were in comparison of each other. It felt like we always had our own, like, you know, own thing, and we were allowing ourselves to actually be unique in that way, but also come together. And I think that has helped me in the world in a way. And I'll even say with my friends or any of my clients that I see, like, I can spot it right away. And I always just think that, like, the way that I'm showing up for this person is they are my sister. And like, how can I love them and not judge them and not be in comparison? Like, even if I like sat there and smiled at them, but in my heart, if I'm judging myself, and if my heart, if I'm judging them, like, that's not good either. That comparison thing, which I find that I think in this relationship here has helped me show that to other either clients or, and it's wild because you can see it in old. It's not just like, it's like literally any age you can just see. It's called the sisterhood wound.
I've never heard of that.
And where they're in competition, and women essentially, like, the way we thrive is actually coming together and being in community. I love that. And like, you can see when it's kind of like, it doesn't work is when you are in that competition.
Yeah, it's like
so crazy.
And it's like the competition is just putting someone down. Like, why we both can be lifted up and celebrated,
or
and
putting
you're
yourself
amazing and I'm
down,
amazing.
right?
Why is there a competition? We both can win. We both can.
I love that.
Yeah.
What is interesting though is that we come from the polygamous cult, and
Which is
it's
wild.
like it's like that is the root of the whole.
Yeah,
That
you
is
have
the
5 wives and
foundation.
one.
How
That is the
How did we not get
foundation.
the sisterhood wound?
I'm like, yeah, That's
I think it's part of how you're raised. I really feel like even for us, like we didn't have the choice. Mom told us family's important. I don't care. You can go off and do your own thing, but you have this family net. So I feel like how you raised your children really matters. Like, and then like you telling your daughter, like your sister's gonna be with you forever, or even thinking about my in-laws, like they're American, raised here, and it's like she started at a young age. Like these are your family members. You don't have to like them. You don't have to agree with them, but like they're your safety net, and like they're not gonna judge. All that thing. So I really think like how you raised all of us, and and that's how we're so strong, is because you truly raised us in a way. Like even when we all went to school, we were like, our friend like said so and so about her sister, or our friend said so and so about her mom, and,
we're like,
and our
we
jaws
would
are like hitting the
never
ground,
do
like it could never be me, like because it just wasn't even an option. It's like this is your family. Obviously, not to say if you don't need time away or space or X, Y, and Z, but it's like your family's always going to be there. You can't buy family at the end of the day.
It's a wound that happens as a young woman, and then as you grow, you carry it with you. So it's interesting because in the younger years is where you actually get this wounding, and then you carry it with you.
I feel like I have it a little bit with like the
Extended.
step kids,
Extended family
Or,
member.
I don't know if it's
like
that
the half
much, or
sisters.
maybe
For
I
sure,
was
and
just
I can
very
tell why.
competitive.
But when you were born and you in that circumstances, Dad would pit the girls against each other. Oh, look at your older sister. Look at what she's doing, and how come you're not? You remember? I remember he'd pit the competitions as he would do all his wives, and it was the way they kept everyone in submission. Is there was always someone doing better than you, always someone like, why can't you be like so and so? I mean, I woke up several times in the night listening to my father talking to my mother. Why can't you be like this sister wife or this other sister wife? So that's the foundation of that church. And you, since you were the oldest one, your father would pit the girls against
Well,
each
I always
other.
won, so.
Yes, you did.
I'm kidding, we never felt any of that from you.
I
No.
protected you guys. Were my babies.
yeah.
Like I was out there
I'm
fighting the
talking
world for
extended.
them.
Yeah, extended
Yes.
outside the family.
I think it's like that extension. It's like, you sent us some reel a while back, and it's like the woman you want to outshine you is your daughters, and it's no different like your sisters. It's like we're connected.
Yeah.
I want you to, like, obviously that extends into like sisterhood and friends, but it's like this is your family. Like we're your babies. You want us to be amazing. You don't want a competition with your sisters. It's like
No.
I would bet though you and any of the people you surround yourself with outside of your family, I bet you are that sister in that way. I bet you're proud and cheering them on. I've seen you do
for
it.
sure.
Yeah.
And so that to me is evident that you don't have the wound.
That's true.
Because if you did, those people out there, they
That's
would be
true,
your
I don't
competition.
compete.
You
I'm
would
not
not
a
cheer
You're
them
always
on.
loving.
They probably are trying to
No,
put that
even
on
with
you.
even with the extended family,
You're always loving on them.
I was always loving,
Yeah.
but I'm just a competitive person.
which I can relate. I'm a competitive person too.
You both got Aries in your chart.
But I never took it very personal. Like I felt bad when she like, especially like Cheerside compete with a lot. I felt
take
so
that
bad
name
because
out.
it was like, you can't compete. I just was trying to compete with the boys, like.
Yeah, Sheila.
And then Dad kept picking on her and Lorraine especially, and I'm like, oh, I felt so shitty when that happened. I didn't like that.
yeah.
But for me, it was just a personal goal. Like I wanted to take the boy's ass.
You
like,
did.
Can you imagine, just imagine Mom pitting us against each other? That was so crazy.
That's like a parenting 101 though. They literally
I
push
don't
it. You're
like
never
that.
supposed to be like tell one kid why can't you be like the other kid. That's like
No, that's
a
horrible.
terrible
That's
parenting
manipulation.
thing.
Yeah.
If anything, when one of my children come up and they're going through something hard, I would say, hey, you're not alone. Your older sister was
Right.
there. She was there. She went
Which
through
I've
that.
been through
This is
that.
what she took, and this is the tea she drank, and she felt better. You're going to be okay. Or else
Yeah.
I'll say, hey, I went through.
Yeah.
But you're not competing.
Yeah.
You're
No.
more saying you're
Why
not
can't you be
alone.
like-
That's
you're
just
not alone.
something.
That's so
That's
sad.
like
You have to improve
comfort.
over that.
That's
Yeah.
like telling you like my kids they did something. Mommy's been scared too. I've been nervous. Like you're
Yeah,
not
we
alone.
need
This
that.
is what we
Yeah.
do to be brave or X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So I think about all the women that we are affecting, and that makes me feel really excited, because
Amen.
that sister wound is huge and it runs really deep, and
Yeah.
it's great that we get to trickle out there and actually be that for other women.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I see it a lot, and I'm like, I never understood it. I'm like,
What is it?
for me when I've started like a business before, and I'm like, I started this to help women. Why are you guys all like stabbing my back? Like what? It's weird. Like I really learned real quick how much women were not on your side when you started being
man.
successful.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's not all. Like I do think everyone here could
No.
name like good friends that they've had in their
For
life,
sure.
and it's like
for sure.
they're not our sister, but they truly are like good. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
do
Well,
think
I would
want the
say a
best for you.
majority though.
I do think there's a
women
big
are
majority.
Very,
competitive.
as soon
What do
as
you
you're
call
doing, I feel like they are.
Is that the word?
They're very I don't know. In my experience, it's for you'll run into a lot of people
It's
that
few
are
and far between finding someone who's like real and
who
authentic.
actually it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to like even do the finding new friends when you're older too. Like,
Yeah, that's very hard.
why?
Mom said she's afraid of you guys now.
Why? Why? Because we won't shut up.
No. I was gonna say, I don't know why this is making me think of this, but I remember thinking that like kind of what you're talking about, like wanting to be one of the guys.
Yeah.
Thinking that being certain things about being a woman were considered weak and considered.
Oh, that's a good topic.
And we need to end it there. We need to end it there.
No, I swear. Like
That was good.
I would not tell anyone
That's
if I was
another
ever
few
on
hour topic,
on
so
my
we're just
period.
gonna have to.
Otherwise, I would not show weakness.
Next topic, you're giving it away.
Jen, you're gonna close this.
It'll take another hour. That's a good one though.
Oh my gosh,
We'll be
that
back
was a
with
good
that
topic.
topic soon.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah, it was a
and
blast.
we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.